Deep in the heart of Africa's Tsavo wilderness, where the golden savanna stretches endlessly and the air hums with the voices of life, a story of courage, pain, and compassion was about to unfold. It began one warm evening, under the crimson glow of the setting sun, when a brave mother elephant named Shaba faced an enemy no one could have imagined, a giant porcupine. Shaba was the matriarch of her small herd, a family of 5 elephants that included her young and playful calf Moyo. To the rangers of Tsavo East National Park, Shaba was well known. She had survived years of hardship, a terrible drought, the loss of old herd members, and even encounters with poachers. Yet she always led her family with strength and intelligence, guiding them to water and food through her deep understanding of the land. As the rainy season began, the herd was thriving again. The grass was lush, rivers flowed freely, and Moyo was learning how to trumpet and splash through the muddy pools. Life seemed peaceful, at last. But in the wild, peace is always fragile. That evening, Shaba led her family toward a favorite watering hole at the base of a rocky hill. The air was calm, filled with the chirping of cicadas and the distant cries of birds returning to their nests. But as they approached the water, something unusual stirred near the edge, a giant African crested porcupine. People often imagine porcupines as small, shy creatures that scurry away from danger. But Africa's crested porcupine is different. It's the largest of its kind in the world, with quills nearly a foot long, tipped with needle-sharp barbs that can pierce the skin of a lion or the tire of a jeep. This particular porcupine, known later to locals as Tambo, was huge and unusually aggressive. He had been digging for roots near the water's edge, and the heavy footsteps of the approaching elephants disturbed him. As Shaba lowered her trunk to drink, Tambo raised his massive quills, spreading them like a fan. The black and white spines rattled in warning. He hissed, a sound like the dry whisper of leaves in the wind. Shaba hesitated, trying to calm her herd with a low rumble. But Moyo, full of curiosity and without fear, toddled a few steps closer to the strange creature. In an instant, the porcupine charged. It was a blur of movement, small, fast, and furious. Tambo darted beneath Shaba's towering legs and thrust forward, striking with his quills. Shaba let out a thunderous trumpet that echoed across the valley as pain shot through her body. Several quills pierced deep into her foot and trunk. The herd panicked. Dust rose into the evening air as the elephants scattered in all directions, trumpeting in alarm. The porcupine vanished into the shadows, leaving behind a wounded giant and a terrified calf. By the following morning, park rangers had received reports of an injured elephant limping near the riverbank. When the Tsavo Wildlife Rescue unit arrived, they found Shaba standing under an acacia tree, shifting her weight painfully from one leg to the other. Her trunk was swollen, streaked with blood, and she was desperately trying to pull the embedded quills out with her tusks. Her calf, Moyo, stood beside her, pressing against her side, confused and afraid. The rescuers immediately recognized the danger. Porcupine quills are not simple spikes. They are barbed, designed to burrow deeper into flesh with every movement. If left untreated, they can cause infections and crippling injuries. The team's leader, Ranger Joseph, studied the situation through binoculars. "If she charges, we're finished," he whispered. "But if we don't help her, she won't survive." They decided to act fast. The rescue team moved with precision, using the wind to mask their scent as a helicopter hovered in the distance, carrying a wildlife veterinarian and tranquilizer darts. From above, Shaba looked like a mountain of gray, swaying gently as Moyo stood pressed against her. When the vet had a clear shot, he fired. The dart struck her shoulder with a soft thud. Shaba trumpeted, stamping the ground. But within minutes her breathing slowed, her massive body lowered to the earth, and she drifted into sleep. The rescuers rushed forward. Moyo trumpeted in alarm, circling his fallen mother, but the rangers formed a ring around him, speaking softly, reassuringly, until the calf calmed down. Then the vet and his team began their work. Using sterilized pliers, they carefully pulled the quills from Shaba's thick skin, one by one. Each was more than 10 inches long, buried deep in her trunk and leg. The work was delicate and dangerous. If a quill broke, the fragment could cause an abscess later. Sweat ran down the rescuers' faces as they worked under the heat of the African sun. After 20 minutes, they had removed 7 quills, but one remained, lodged dangerously close to a tendon in her ankle. The vet knelt down, his hands trembling slightly, and with precise skill, made a small incision. Inch by inch, he eased the final quill free. The team exhaled in relief. They cleaned and disinfected the wounds, applied antibiotics, and injected anti-inflammatory medicine. Then they stepped back as the vet administered the antidote to wake her. For a few tense moments, nothing happened. Then, Shaba's trunk twitched. Her ears flapped weakly. With a great, rumbling breath, she pushed herself upright. Moyo squealed with joy, running to her side. Shaba nuzzled her calf gently, checking him for injuries, and then, to everyone's amazement, she lifted her head and looked directly at the rangers. For just a moment, her gaze was calm and full of understanding, as if she knew these humans had saved her life. Without hesitation, she turned toward the forest, Moyo following close behind. The rangers stood silently, watching as the mother and calf disappeared into the golden light of the savannah. Over the next few weeks, the team monitored Shaba's recovery through a small GPS collar fitted around her neck. Each day, the signal showed her moving farther from the rescue site, exploring familiar routes, rejoining her herd. Slowly, her limp faded. She was seen feeding normally again, splashing in waterholes, and leading Moyo and the others as confidently as ever. The rescue had been a complete success. But nature has its strange sense of balance. About a month later, while patrolling near the same watering hole, Ranger Joseph spotted something unusual near a termite mound. It was Tambo, the giant porcupine who had attacked Shaba. This time, however, he was in trouble. The porcupine had become trapped in a snare, one of the many illegal wire traps left by poachers. His quills were tangled in the metal, and he was struggling desperately to free himself. Most people would have left him there, believing in revenge or justice. But Joseph remembered the look in Shaba's eyes that day, the quiet dignity, the will to live. Every creature deserves a chance, he said. Carefully, the team approached. Using long sticks and thick gloves to avoid the sharp quills, they loosened the snare, cutting it away until the porcupine was free. Tambo scurried off into the bush, unharmed and wiser for his ordeal. As Joseph watched him disappear, he smiled. Maybe this is balance, he said softly. The wild gives, and the wild forgives. Today, Shaba and her herd still roam the vast plains of Tsavo. Moyo, now stronger and bolder, splashes through rivers and follows his mother's every step. Each evening, as the sun dips below the horizon, their silhouettes can be seen against the fiery sky, symbols of endurance and grace. The rescue team often pauses to watch them, remembering that incredible day when humans and animals came together in an act of pure compassion. Shaba's story reminds us that strength is not just about power or size. It's about resilience, the courage to endure pain, to trust when trust seems impossible, and to keep moving forward no matter the odds. It also reminds us that in the wild, every life has meaning, whether it belongs to a majestic elephant or a small misunderstood porcupine. Because in the end, heroes come in many forms. Some wear ranger uniforms. Some have tusks. And some have quills. So the next time you hear the distant rumble of elephants across the plains, remember Shaba, the brave mother who fought for her family, the rescuers who risked their lives to save her, and the unlikely lesson from a porcupine that showed even the fiercest battles can end in peace.